how Kobe Bryant never ended up with the Boston Celtics. As we all know, Kobe Bryant is incredible. 5 NBA championships, a league MVP. He recently had not one but 2 jerseys retired in the NBA. But in my opinion, one of his greatest achievements is the fact that he's a one-team player, which is something that we rarely see with players in the NBA today. He was a member of the Lakers for 20 seasons, and Magic Johnson himself called him the greatest Laker of all time, which is a big statement, but he definitely has a case. But what's crazy is the fact that he almost ended up playing for the arch rivals of the Lakers. He almost ended up playing for the Boston Celtics in the draft of the 1996 NBA season. Before I start, the full article is linked down below in the description box if you want to have a read. In 1996, ML Carr served as both head coach and executive vice president / director of basketball operations for the Boston Celtics. And while the Celtics were in good hands heading into the 1996 NBA draft, he did need some help in making a decision on who to draft. By this time, Red Auerbach had become the team's president, and whilst not every decision meant a visit to Auerbach's office, this wasn't just any decision. Plus, let's be honest, who wouldn't come to Auerbach for advice, especially draft advice? He flees St. Louis in 1956 to obtain the draft rights to Bill Russell. He snatched John Havlicek with the last pick in the first round in 1962. He drafted Larry Bird as a junior eligible player in 1978 and completed another lopsided swap that gained the Celtics Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale in 1980. He also managed to draft Len Bias, the second overall pick, after winning an NBA championship in the same year. So yeah, look, not a bad guy to go to advice for. When Carr asked for his advice about the prospects, the Celtics were considering with their first round pick in 1996, well, there was a kid, and this one kid, named Kobe Bryant. Heading into pre-draft workouts, Kobe had wowed the Celtics, but they were also amazed with his off-court ability, as in a sit-down interview, Carr said it was the best he had ever seen. Auerbach wasn't at the camp, but he had seen footage, and he said, and I quote, "There was nothing the kid couldn't do." So at this point, Kobe to the Celtics is a strong possibility. The only risk was the fact that Kobe was making the leap straight out of high school to the NBA, which was reasonably new, but whilst it was new, it had been done before, with the Timberwolves taking Garnett out of high school the year before. Of course, Moses Malone and Darryl Dawkins had in the 70s, but in recent NBA history, it was only really KG, and looking back at this, it's typically only big men who get drafted out of high school due to being more NBA ready than guards. Well, as though it seemed. Auerbach said, and I quote, "I think this kid is going to be a hell of a player, but it can go either way. He seems to be solid, but he's a high school kid. You've got to make a choice based on what you need today, but I think he's a hell of a player." Keep in mind at this point, Kobe is an avid Laker fan. Growing up in Italy, his grandparents had to send him VHS tapes to watch, as he couldn't even watch games live. He would watch the Lakers-Celtics finals from the 1980s, and despite being a huge Laker fan, when he worked out with Boston at 17 years old, he said working out with Dennis Johnson was the coolest thing in the world. In addition, when they brought out the practice gear, he reflects on it saying, "I'm looking at it like, do I really have to put this on? I'm comfortable wearing the shit I have right now." But I quickly moved past that, man. It's like, I'm quickly about to become a professional. If anything, I understand the history of this franchise, and this franchise has done a lot of amazing stuff. So I was quickly able to move by that. As you can imagine, the workout was incredible for Kobe. Here are some of the quotes from the staff in Boston. "I tell you, he put on a shooting exhibition. The way he stroked the ball," Carr remembers, "it was unbelievable. He did it in flying colors." Another quote was, "If you closed your eyes and thought a little bit, you might have thought you were watching Michael